Sorry, we're closed.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. Episode 87 of Sorry We're Closed. I am your host, Mr. Patrick James Light. We are going to dive into today why Dave Portnoy is quite possibly the most protected man on the face of the earth. And then we're going to dive a little bit into Major League Baseball and the Boston Red Sox with the simple fact that this might be one of the biggest series of the year so far for the Boston Red Sox playing the Oakland Athletics, who arguably are one of the best teams in baseball as well. Even though we kind of saw it coming with the A's this year. They had a great year last year. Coming into 2021, they were expected to have another great year and compete with the Astros in the AL West. But we got three of the top four teams in baseball right now. Or I say two of the top four teams in baseball right now, with the San Francisco Giants and Boston Red Sox, who no one predicted would be anywhere near where they are a month into the season. So first things first, though. I made a TikTok once about Dave Portnoy. He was doing work in Miami, quote unquote work. Although he did apparently come out and say that the photo he had there was staged. But he was doing work by a pool, or doing this photo by the pool with his laptop, and the sun was directly on the laptop screen. I took the opportunity to make a lighthearted joke about how there's absolutely, under no circumstances, could he see what was on that screen, and therefore was doing no work. Yes, okay, he said the photo was staged. Mine was a joke. I have never seen so many people send hate. I did some really bad things in Major League Baseball as far as my performance goes. I was triple the hate I received in Major League Baseball when I said even the slight. I didn't even say anything negative about Dave. All I said was that there's absolutely, under no circumstances, could he see the screen, which I still believe to be true. People said he wears sunglasses. I tested the sunglass theory on my own balcony, and it was still very difficult to see the screen when the sun is glaring right on it. And then they said there's these HP computers. Who has an HP first off? But everyone's like, hey, they have these HP computers where now they have, these screens that are anti-glare and you can see everything just fine, like all this shit. It was a joke. And I mean, it's got over 500,000 views on TikTok right now. People have lost their minds. It has gone so big that I've now made a counter TikTok to talk about the TikTok itself and exactly what I'm talking about right now, which is insanity. I didn't even say anything negative. Most of the comments I got back, which was crazy, was most of the comments I received back was, oh, he still makes 10 times more money than you. I was like, of course he does, but I'm not saying anything bad about him. It was such a weird turn of events. I even had Trista from Barstool, who I don't know, but now we're friendly. Trista from Barstool make a counter TikTok when I posted it originally, which was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, a counter TikTok saying, how dare me for mentioning anything, and who am I to say anything? We had a little Twitter beef for about an hour or two, and then she came, after about a day, she came back on my side and said maybe she overreacted. Because once again, I didn't say this guy sucks at his job and he's done nothing, and there's I don't understand how he even made this money, and all the negative things that happened towards Barstool. They've called Barstool Sports and Dave some of the worst things you could call people. All of those things, I get yelled at for saying that he has a glare on his computer screen and he can't see. That's what I get yelled at. So, listen, this is why I'm saying Dave Portnoy is by far the most protected man on the face of the earth. If you say even a hint of bad things about him, and again, I've never met him personally. I've heard from people that I trust very good things about him. So I have not a bad word to say about Dave. That's who I like Barstool. I think a lot of the stuff they do is hilarious. Marty Mush over there. I've had a lot of the guys on my podcast with Jared, Marty, Hubs. I'd love to bring Smitty on. Some of the other guys I've met with Za and all those, and Dana Beers. But they do a lot of really cool things over there. But the moment something negative comes out, and again, mine wasn't even negative. All mine says you couldn't see the damn screen, and it is flooded. Your comments are flooded with, he makes more money than you. Who the hell are you? You can't say this. Like blah 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 blah. And keep in mind, I've done work for Barstool before. I still love, I go on the Section 10 podcast, fairly regularly with Jared. I went on I went on the Short Porch. I will do podcasts. I love those guys over there. So if I am getting this hate, I can only imagine when someone they don't really like and Dave hops on the train, what is then said. Like how much hate that person must get for saying anything even actually negative about the company and about Dave. If I got this, God bless anyone that wants to try to take this monster on at Barstool Sports. I mean, Dave, if he ends up unleashing people on you, and Dave probably didn't even see my TikTok, but if he ends up unleashing people on me, I could imagine, or on whoever says something might be negative about him, holy shit, that's got to be a nightmare. Because again, the amount that I got is insane to not even have said anything negative about the gentleman. So that's my 2 cents on Dave and how protected the gentleman is. It's crazy. If you haven't seen the video, go check it out on my TikTok. I just posted another one. Actually, Miranda. You guys see where the shadow is here behind the laptop. There's not a shot he can see anything on that screen right now. He's getting zero work done. Dave Portnoy is one of the most protected men on the face of the earth. I'm going to tell you why. By the way, go Mountaineers. I posted this little number, and I've never received more hate in my life. Keep in mind, I love Barstool. Dave seems like a tremendous human being. Moving on, going to baseball, and we got, again, the Boston Red Sox continue to surprise people. They still have the best record in baseball. They are top of the AL East. Because of the best record in baseball, they're at the top of Major League Baseball. However, in the Bleacher Report latest power rankings, they're number 4 on the list. At number 3, they have the San Francisco Giants. The St. Louis Cardinals come in at number 2, and the Oakland Athletics come in at number 1. Now, the Red Sox and Oakland Athletics are playing each other right now. The Red Sox lost last night 3-2, I believe. And they play again, and then one more game, and then the Angels, I believe, come to town for Boston. But if you had told me a month into the season that the top 4 teams in baseball would be Oakland Athletics, Cardinals, Giants, and Red Sox, I would have said you're absolutely out of your mind, even as a Red Sox fan. My goal for this year's Red Sox team was to hang around long enough to get Chris Sale back to go fight for a wild card spot. And that still might be how the season goes. We're playing good baseball, but there is definitely some kinks in the armor. And I think that they can be replaced and fixed at the trade deadline. But it's if we're there at that point. But San Francisco Giants were one of the worst teams in baseball last year, if not the worst team in baseball last year. St. Louis Cardinals, although they always seem to hang around and be in the mix, I just didn't think they were a top 3 team in the league this year. And the Oakland Athletics, who I thought would be very good, I thought they would still compete. I think they compete for the AL West, but I thought they'd come in second behind the Astros, and they still might. But a month and a half into the season, and we have some of the most outrageous, and the number 5, and it's around at the top 5 of the Chicago White Sox, who I think everyone thought would be in this conversation. So they're actually not a surprise in any capacity. But the other 4 teams in the top 4, and again, we keep talking about how it's early, but at what point is it not early anymore? We're a month of baseball in. This team's good. The Red Sox are a good team. They're finding ways to win ball games. Specifically, what I think that I like the most about what this team has done is they find ways to win ball games when they're not playing well. They're able to go out and beat Jacob deGrom and the Mets. Although that seems like the easiest thing to do when you're playing the Mets, but you're able to go find games where you're not particularly playing well, but you're able to sneak something out and win a ball game. And again, as teams get better over the year, as the Dodgers are going to go into this top 5 eventually, as these teams get better and better and they play better and better, the Red Sox have to keep up. If the Red Sox don't keep up, that's when you start seeing them drag. The Yankees are starting to play a good brand of baseball right now. They got Luke Voigt back last night. They're playing a good brand of baseball. They're going to put some pressure on this Red Sox team. And it's going to be up to them if they can keep up. Can they keep up with what's going to happen? The cream rises to the top in Major League Baseball because you have a 162-game season. So it's going to be interesting to see if this Red Sox team can keep up, or if this I don't see how the Giants team keeps up. But, the Giants has a 2.99 ERA right now by the starting rotation. I can't imagine that holds up in that division, the AL or the NL West with the Dodgers and the Padres. I can't imagine that holding up. The Cardinals, I don't know a whole lot about the NL Central, and the Athletics are going to fight with the Astros, but it's a really interesting season so far. And this is what you love about Major League Baseball. I'm not saying the Dodgers won't win a World Series this year. They have a very good chance to do so. But this is what you love about Major League Baseball. You never know who is going to be competing. You have two teams specifically in this top four with the Red Sox and Giants, who some people thought were going to be. I'm sure there's some people that thought the Red Sox would be horrible this year. Some people that thought the Giants would be horrible this year, and rightfully so. So it's interesting to see, and this is why I love baseball, is you just don't see this a lot in other sports. You see back-to-back, sometimes back-to-back championships, or 3 out of 4, or what have you. You see that. In Major League Baseball, it is so rare to be able to build a dynasty, because baseball is just one of those sports where it is difficult to dominate for a long period of time. The talent pool is so well spread out. You'd argue this year with the Dodgers and the Padres, have 2 loaded teams, but they're about as loaded as a team has ever been in the last decade. It's unbelievable what Major League Baseball is able to do. And for the people that say that the Major League Baseball doesn't do a great job. I think they could do a whole lot better job as far as promoting the game and things like that. But they keep the talent pool, whatever system they have that keeps this talent pool so spread out and so well done. I don't know what the system is, but they have to keep it in place, because it's unbelievable to see how any team seemingly can compete, and there's always surprises. It's like March Madness of professional sports. You never know who's going to rise to the top. And again, you have the Boston Red Sox with the best record in baseball right now, who most would think would be fringe wild card team this year, and you still have people saying they're a fringe wild card team this year, even though you're a month half into the season and the best record. It's interesting to see, and again, that's on top of what we just talked about as far as not being able to know who gets to the top. This is another part of baseball. The Red Sox they might not win a wild card this year. That's the way baseball works sometimes. They run through it. They had a hot start. All of a sudden they have a slow June. Or maybe it creeps into July. Next thing you know, they're 3rd, 4th in AL East. And maybe they're not really competing for a wild card spot, or not going to be as aggressive a buyers as they might be right now at the trade deadline. So you just don't know with these things. So it's interesting. I hope the Red Sox take 2 out of 3 from the Athletics, although they lost game 1. I still think this Red Sox team is very good. I think this Athletics team is very good. I have yet to watch the Giants, so I can't comment on them. And the Cardinals, I haven't watched them either. But you have some solid baseball being played here. And I still believe that this Red Sox team is going to compete with this Yankee team for the AL East this year. This Yankee team's coming alive a little bit, and that's something to watch for sure. But I think this Red Sox team has something to compete for. One last note I want to make mention of is I saw on TikTok, and I'm trying to find it from Miranda, but I saw on TikTok there's a guy by the name of John Means. We all, as Red Sox fans, we all know who John Means is. Threw an absolute gem against us in the home opener and game, first game of the season for the Baltimore Orioles. And he recently threw a no-hitter out in Seattle. And I saw a TikTok of him. This guy's, complaining that John Means is cheating because he goes to his glove with his hand, and it looks like he's using a substance. The one thing I will say, I don't think all substances are bad for baseball. I know some of them are illegal, or all of them are illegal, but I don't think all substances are bad for baseball. Sometimes you guys need grips. The one thing I will say to you guys is I have seen, I'm not saying John Means isn't cheating, but I have seen guys have ticks, and they go to their gloves, they do certain things that they're not grabbing for a substance. I had a guy we had one of the strings. One of the strings was very long on his glove, and it was just a tick of his. It wasn't like lathered in pine tar or something. It was just a tick for him. So it's not 100%. When you see guys go to their gloves, and you see these TikToks and things like that, it's not 100% that they actually are cheating. It's not 100% that they're using some of the things that people are, like Trevor Plouffe will talk about how there are certain substances that are really changing the game of baseball. And I think that people have accused guys like Trevor Bauer, maybe Garrett Cole, using those things. I don't have any knowledge of that. But, just because you see someone go to their glove a lot doesn't always mean that they're grabbing for substances. It does oftentimes mean that, but it doesn't always. So putting it on TikTok and showing people this, I would just take it with a grain of salt when you see these videos and really dive into it and see what this guy likes to throw. typical pitches this guy likes to do. If he's a heavy spin rate guy, if he's not a heavy spin rate guy, what have you. So something to take a look at, because you're going to see more and more of these pop up, especially in today's day, of people just watching games and then when they show the pitcher, going after them and videoing them, seeing them going to their glove, which again does not always mean that they're grabbing for substances. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a tremendous weekend. Happy Thursday, happy Friday, whenever you might be listening to this. I will be away this weekend, going to Key West. I will not be recording that episode in Key West, though, because I don't think anyone would enjoy that, me having to carry all this stuff down there. But I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'm sure as hell going to have probably one of the better weekends I've had in a long time. And I hope you guys too. So until next time, guys, I'll see you at the bar. Thank you so much for listening to the Sorry We're Closed podcast. Go subscribe to our email chain over at thepatlight.com and follow us on all social media. Until next time, guys, I'll see you at the bar.
Sorry, we're closed.